I am going to quickly take you through the circle of fifths, starting with the sharps, which, if you remember, are on the right side, and then we're going to go through the flat side, which is on the left. Remember, we always start up at the top here in C and go around clockwise, okay? Because our pattern is going to work us in that direction. So let's go ahead and flip it upside down if you haven't already, and start in C. Mark your C up here, and then you start with the C as your keynote. Do your pattern, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Okay? Now, step 2 is to draw your notes on the staff. So let's come down to that staff. I'm going to make it a little bit larger. And let's draw the notes of the staff. Here's C. Remember, we're going to have a total of 8 notes, and all you do is draw your 8 notes going up line, space, line, space. If you started and ended on your keynote, then you are correct, because here we started on C, here's C, we have a total of 8 notes. So far, so good. Now, you're going to match the dots up to the notes that you wrote. For the key of C, we don't have to really worry about that, because all of the dots are on white keys, which means all of our notes are not going to have any sharps. However, if you remember, as we go around the circle, we are going to add 1 sharp each time we get to a new quadrant. Okay, so we're going to start with 1 sharp, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and end with 7 sharps as we get around. Alright? So let's give that a try. See how that goes. Now, how do we know what this next key is? Well, if you remember, you count your 5th dot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you could count your 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, either way. That's going to give you your next keynote. This is a G, so we're going to bring a G up into this box here. Alright? Then we start our pattern on G. So there's our keynote, and then you start the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Now remember, this key is going to have 1 sharp because we're starting to add sharps as we go around. We're in bass clef, it reminds us down there. Let's draw our 8 notes. They did the first one, so we only have to add 7. How do you check your work? Well, just like I stated earlier, if you have 8 notes and you started and ended on the right note, then you're good to go. It said to start on G, which we did. We ended on G, we're good to go. Now, we have 1 sharp in this one, and if you look, it should be obvious to figure out which one it is. It's going to be the only black key that we have, alright? Which is F sharp, okay? Because we have G, A, B, C, D, E, and then this F note is different. It's not on the white key, so we know that's going to be F sharp. So go down onto your staff, make that note sharp, and then we can continue over. Count your 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a D here, and that's what we're going to bring up here, and then we're going to do our dots again. So let's bring it around and give it a go. Here's D. You're going to use D as your keynote, and then do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Remember, and this is super important, that the idea is to be able to identify which notes are going to be sharp as you go up. Alright? So in the key of D, we have 2 sharps, and they're easy to find out, or easy to identify, because once again, there are 2 black keys. Alright? So let's go down to the staff, draw our scale, and then we will fill in the sharps. Eight notes, started and ended on D, good so far. Now, as we look up, here we have D, we have E, and then here's F sharp, which was what we had back in the key of G, right? So what is the new sharp that we're adding this time? Well, it has to be this one, which is the second to last note, which we know is this one here, a C note, This is C sharp. So go ahead and fill in both your F sharp right here and your C sharp here, and you are good to go. Do you have two sharps? Yes, you do. Two different sharps, F sharp and C sharp, so you're good to go. Count up 5 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, that's what we're going to put here. Now, that A, like we've discussed, is the keynote, right? So we put our keynote down and then do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We know now that this key, the key of A, is going to have 3 sharps. Easy to see because we have 3 black keys, okay? So let's do our scale, starting with the keynote A. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Started and ended on A, so we know we're good. Now, the key of D had 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. Here they are, F sharp and C sharp. Here's our new sharp, which has to be this note right here, which is G sharp. So go ahead and fill in the 2 that we know, F sharp and C sharp, and then fill in that new sharp that we have, which is G sharp. Okay, 3 sharps filled in, they're different, and we're good to go. Now, count up 5 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, E, that's what we're going to put in this box right here. Now, that is going to be our keynote for this next scale. So go ahead and mark that keynote on the keyboard, and then do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. I know it sounds redundant, but once again, we're adding another sharp. This time we're going to have 4, and you should be able to see that we have 4 black keys now that we're using for this scale. So come down on your staff and draw your E scale. I'm going to start down here on the E line and then draw my next 7 notes so that I have a total of 8 notes. And then we need to figure out which sharps we're going to use. Now we have the same sharps as we had in the previous key, F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Now we're going to add a new one, which is D sharp. Alright, so let's go ahead and fill in those sharps. Here's our F sharp, here's C sharp, G sharp, and then D sharp. Excellent. Count up 5 notes, same thing again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B. So B is going to come up here. That's going to be our next scale, the B scale. Alright, so let's draw it in. B scale, that is our keynote, so let's mark it on the keyboard, B. Now let's do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. We know, because there were 4 sharps in the previous key, that we're going to have 5 in this one. Okay, so let's draw our B scale. Remember, 8 notes, start on B, end on B. Voila. Now, we are using all 5 black keys at this point, alright? So we can fill in the 4 that we know, and then identify the one that we don't. Over here we had F, C, G, and D. Now our new sharp is right here, which is A sharp. So let's fill in our 5 sharps, the 4 that we knew, and then the one new one. So we have F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and last but not least, the A sharp. Alright, now let's come across here. Our 5th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is F sharp, so that's what we're going to bring in here. Do not forget the sharp, because the key of F is way different than the key of F sharp. Alright, so F sharp is your keynote, so mark it on the keyboard. Do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Excellent. Let's go ahead and draw our scale while we're at it. Oops, I moved something. Hold on one second. There we are. Let's come around. Let me rewrite that again. Oops, did it again. Here I have F sharp. Okay. Our pattern that I accidentally erased. F sharp. Then we have whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Let's draw our scale now. I won't mess up this time. Here's our F. Make sure it's sharp because we're starting in the key of F sharp. So we have F, and then we have to go up to our 8th note. Voila. Make sure that last one is F sharp because we start and end on the same note, which is F sharp. Now, we're going to have 6 sharps. Okay? We already have our 5 black keys, right? So we have to figure out where this sharp is going to be. Okay? If you want to, you can fill in the ones we know, which are F sharp, which we already have filled in, and then C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp. Alright? Okay, so we have to figure out if B is sharp or if E is sharp. Well, let's compare the notes to the staff. There's our F sharp. Here is our G sharp. The 3rd note is A sharp. And then this note here, the 4th note, is a B. Here's a B. That checks out. C sharp, D sharp. This note here looks like an F. However, the second to last note is an E note. There's our clue that this is actually E sharp. And then we finally end with F sharp. So go ahead and fill in your E as being a sharp, and then you're good to go. You have 6 sharps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't count the last one because it's redundant, because we started with F sharp. We're talking about 6 completely new sharps, 6 different sharps. F, C, G, D, A, and E. Alright? Now, let's come over to the next side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C sharp here. That's what we're going to bring up over here. Here's our C sharp. That's going to be the keynote once again. Let's do the pattern. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Excellent. Now, let's draw it on the staff. Here's our C sharp, remember, because that's our keynote. If the keynote is sharp, then you make it sharp. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ended on C sharp, right? Because that's, once again, that's our keynote. Now, we know that this has 7 sharps. So, we really don't need to figure out which notes are sharp because we know that they all are sharp. However, I'll take you through the steps to know if you're doing it right. Now, think about these last sharps over here that we were using, okay? We're going to put all of those sharps in here and then figure out which one is not sharp. So we have F sharp, C sharp, which is already there, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp, and E sharp. Now, the only note that's not sharped in this scale is the B. And if you look up at the scale, the second to last note, because B comes right before the C sharp, it looks like a C. However, because we know that it's a B type of note, it has to be a B sharp. So go ahead and fill in that sharp. And you are done. Alright? I'm going to take you through the flats in a different video. So if you need to replay any of this, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I will talk to you in the next one.